Have you ever wondered how your favorite app knows exactly what you want? I mean, it's kind of creepy, right? Well, the secret isn't some kind of magic. It's a hidden language. And today, we're going to decode the mathematics behind machine learning. Seriously, it feels like it's reading your mind, doesn't it? You finish one movie, and boom, there's a list of perfect recommendations waiting for you. But here's the thing. It's not magic, and it's not even really about taste, not to a computer anyway. It all comes down to math.
You see, for a machine, that whole question of what should you watch next, it isn't a question of art or emotion or anything like that. To a computer, it's a massive data problem, a problem that has to be translated into a language it can actually understand.
And this right here is the first absolutely crucial step, translation. Your entire viewing history, those ratings you give, all your preferences, they all get crunched down into numbers. That 5-star rating you gave that sci-fi blockbuster, that just becomes a 5. That 1 star you gave a cheesy rom-com, that's a 1. Suddenly, they're just simple data points a machine can actually work with.
Okay, so you've got all these numbers. What now? How does a machine even start to organize them? Well, it uses this really fundamental mathematical tool. It's called a vector. And you can think of vectors as being the words in this new language of data. Now, the official definition might sound a little, well, abstract and maybe even a bit dry. But don't let that fool you. The real power of a vector is in how incredibly flexible it is. A vector isn't just one thing. It's a shockingly versatile concept.
You know, most of us probably think of vectors as those little arrows from physics class, right? Pointing in a direction. But oh, it goes so much further than that. An entire audio signal, that can be a vector. A really complex polynomial function? Yep, that can be a vector too. As long as you can add it and scale it, it pretty much qualifies.
And this brings it all back home to our movie problem. Just imagine a single vector where every single spot, every component stands for a movie in the streaming library. Your rating for each of those movies becomes a number in that vector. Your entire taste profile, the whole thing, just condensed into one single mathematical object.
All right, so every user is a vector. Great, but now what? How do we actually compare you to someone else? We need a way to organize all these vector words into, full sentences or even paragraphs. And for that, we bring in the big guns, matrices.
Don't be intimidated. A matrix is really just a grid of numbers. Super simple. You can see here each row is one person's vector, and each column represents a movie. You can see it right away, can't you? Allie and Beatrix, they totally love sci-fi. Chandra, completely different taste. Bam, just like that, we have this beautifully structured map of our entire user base.
But here's the thing, and this is really the heart of it all. Just having the matrix, that's not the magic trick. The real goal, the secret sauce, is finding the hidden patterns inside it, the underlying genres of taste that aren't spelled out for us. We need a tool that can see through all that noise and find the real structure.
And that tool, thankfully, has a name. It's called singular value decomposition, or just SVD for short. Now, I love this analogy. Think of SVD like a prism. You shine white light into a prism, and what happens? It splits the light into its basic fundamental colors. Well, SVD does the exact same thing to our data matrix. It breaks it down into its most fundamental components of taste.
So SVD gets to work. It analyzes this whole grid of numbers, and it starts discovering these taste profiles all by itself. And get this, it has no idea what sci-fi even means. It just sees that Allie's and Beatrix's ratings are, like, super similar, so it groups them together. And once you're in that group, well, now it can recommend movies that other people in your little taste club loved. It finds the themes purely from the numbers. It's amazing.
So after all that complex math, what does it tell us? What's the big reveal? It's this. In this entire matrix of data, all these ratings, there are really only 2 main dominant taste profiles. Not 3, not 10, just 2. It all boils down to 2 key dimensions, a love for sci-fi and a love for art house films.
And this is where things get really, really cool. Because this whole toolkit, these vectors, these matrices, this idea of decomposition, it's not just for picking your next movie. Nope. It's a universal principle for making sense of super complex data in pretty much any field you can imagine.
The big idea behind it is something called dimensionality reduction. That sounds complicated, but the concept is actually pretty intuitive. Imagine you have data that exists in some crazy high-dimensional space. The goal is to find a simpler view of it, like casting a shadow in a lower dimension, that still captures all the most important information while just letting the noise fade away.
And this slide, wow, this visualizes that shadow idea perfectly. Look at that vector x floating up there in 3D space. That's our original data point. Now the projection, its shadow, is that point on the flat plane U. That's the closest possible point to x that exists on that simpler flat surface. We've just squashed 3 dimensions down to 2, and we did it in the smartest way possible, losing the absolute least amount of information.
So this incredibly powerful technique has an official name. It's called Principal Component Analysis, or PCA. It's basically an algorithm that automatically finds the best shadows for your data, the most important dimensions, what we call the principal components, that explain the biggest chunks of what's going on in the data.
And this, honestly, this is the part that just blows my mind. The exact same mathematical process we use to find sci-fi lovers can be used to understand images. So, PCA can look at thousands of different pictures of a handwritten zero and figure out the essential core strokes that make a zero a zero. It's the same exact principle, finding the core pattern buried in all the messy, noisy data. So when you pull back the curtain on all this amazing artificial intelligence, what you find isn't some strange, unknowable magic. What you find is a structured, really elegant, and incredibly powerful engine. And it's an engine built entirely from the language of mathematics.
You know, there's a quote that just sums this all up perfectly. It goes, "Machine learning builds upon the language of mathematics to express concepts that seem intuitively obvious, but that are surprisingly difficult to formalize." And that's it, right? We all know what a sci-fi fan is. But it takes the incredibly precise language of linear algebra to actually explain that idea to a computer so it can go out and find more people just like you.
And that really leaves us with a pretty fascinating question, doesn't it? When you think about it, from understanding artistic style to spotting patterns in medical scans, what other complex, intuitive parts of our world are just waiting for the right mathematical tools to help us understand them in a completely new way?